Okay, recording. My name is Bobby Vaught. So, I'm going to put a link to. I've done a series of 15 lessons, everything you need to know to understand investing. More coming at some point when I get around to it. But in any event, if you're interested, you go to. I'll put a link to in the description below. The first lesson. And then each lesson has a link in the description to the next one. So the first one has a link to the second one, has a link to the third one, so on and so forth. All very easy to find. You go through all 15 lessons, and you will understand investing better than 99.99% of the people out there. There's two parts of this channel, but today's presentation is not about that. There's two parts of this channel. So I have that part of it, and then some investing side of it, and then there's the more political side and the economic side and so forth, which is where we're going today. Okay, and it has to do with Candace Owens, not just Candace Owens actually, but yeah, let's just get into it. So I already knew what Trump's position was on the Middle East, or basically what his position was on Iran obtaining nuclear weapons, but I needed to look it up just so I could say I did it. Support for Israel. Here was the question that I posed to doing a search. What did Trump say about Israel when running for president, his first term, when he was running for president in 2016? Support for Israel. Trump consistently expressed strong support for Israel, referring to the country as a strategic ally and an unbreakable friendship. Trump criticized the Iran nuclear deal. What that's referring to is the Obama deal with Iran. Trump criticized the Iran nuclear deal, stating that Iran had violated its terms and that the deal posed a threat to Israel's existence and regional stability. Trump, promised to prevent Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons. That has been Trump's position on Iran from day one, from the time he first announced that he was running for president in the summer of 2015. It's always been his position: prevent Iran from obtaining or developing nuclear weapons. So, so here's Candace Owens, MAGA firebrand. Candace Owens is having big regrets about campaigning for President Donald Trump. Quote, "He's been a chronic disappointment," unquote. In context, she's referring to Trump's support for Israel, and hit the, amongst other things, what was it, roughly about a week or so ago? This is June 29th, 2025. So roughly about a week or so ago, we hit Iran's uranium enrichment program. Well, I don't know why that would be a disappointment to Candace Owens. I don't know why it'd be a surprise to anybody. I would have been surprised if Trump didn't do it, considering what he's been saying. He's only doing what he's been telling people he was going to do for many years now, since the first time he was running for president: prevent Iran from developing or obtaining nuclear weapons. No, the disappointment is Candace Owens. You know why? She obviously hasn't been paying attention to what Trump has been actually saying, the guy that she supported in running for president in 2016, 2020, and 2024. I was paying attention. Why is this surprising anybody? The entire election process, 2024, I was all over social media, and I'm going to be kind of pointed here and probably piss some people off. Probably about half of the Republican voters, roughly half of them. I voted for Trump. I voted for Trump in 2020, in 2024, in 2016. That's a different story. I went third party, and the reasons for that at the time would be going too far on a tangent here, not relevant to anything that I'm getting towards here. I voted for Trump in 2020 and 2024. And just being a little pointed here and I'm going to irritated about half my fellow Republican voters, I got news for you. This is what I saw 100 times all over social media a year ago, 2024. Not one of my tax dollars spent overseas. Vote Trump. I have a question for you. What the hell made you think Donald Trump was some kind of hardcore isolationist like that? Where'd you get that idea? I have no idea. Maybe you weren't paying attention. I was. Amongst numerous other things I could think of, during Trump's first term, defeated ISIS, something Trump was very proud of and should be. What made you think Trump was some kind of hardcore isolationist? Since when? I got news for you. If you think I don't know why you're disappointed. Because I got news for you. If you thought you were voting for some hardcore isolationist and when you voted for Trump in 2024, think again. You obviously hadn't been paying attention during his first term, or going back to when he was first running for president in 2016, he promised to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons. It's what he's been saying all along. Let's get back to Candace Owens. Candace Owens served as the communications director for Turning Point USA from 2017 to 2019. She was hired in late 2017 as the organization's director of urban engagement, but eventually resigned in May 2019 after some controversial remarks she made. I'm not going to look up what those controversial remarks were because I'm going to take a guess. It was probably something that wouldn't have anything to do with this presentation here. Most probably something that didn't have to do with Israel or the Middle East. But in any event, so she's working for Turning Point USA. Charlie Kirk. She's working with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, a very strong supporter of Israel. She leaves Turning Point USA and does what? Candace hosted the Candace Owens Show on PragerU's YouTube channel starting in May 2019. Dennis Prager, that's a very strong supporter of Israel. I mean, considering the fact that he's outspoken on a whole lot of issues, okay? But considering the fact that Dennis Prager's support of Israel would be pretty high on his priority list, it's what he talks about a lot. I mean, you would think Candace it might have dawned on her to find out where she stands on these things before she goes to work for Dennis Prager. What was she doing there? The Candace Owens Show on PragerU's YouTube channel starting in May 2019. She remained in that position until 2020. Prior to that, she worked at PragerU as the Director of Communications, position she held until 2019. Okay, so she's at PragerU. She leaves that position in May of 2019, and no, I'm sorry, she went there in May of 2019, and then left PragerU later, and did what? So Candace Owens, then she joins the Daily Wire in late 2020. The Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro. She joins the Daily Wire in late 2020 and began hosting her show, Candace, on March 19, 2021. She left the company, the Daily Wire, in March 2024. That was only 15 months ago. She was at the Daily Wire for 3 years. Left in March 2024 after a period of tension and disagreements with co-founder Ben Shapiro. Was she not aware that, okay, so the Daily Wire, they had to let Candace go. So she's gone. She leaves the Daily Wire. The Daily Wire is not a platform in the sense like YouTube itself or maybe Facebook where you see all kinds of different views on there. They're not a platform. You kind of have to, in that sense, you kind of have to agree with what they're doing here. You either agree with them or you don't. And So they let her go. They weren't under any moral obligation to keep her just because she was, disagreeing with something with Ben Shapiro. I'm trying to think of an analogy here. I'm pretty sure Ben Shapiro wouldn't go ask to work, go ask for a position at Planned Parenthood. That was probably about the best analogy I could come up with there right off the top of my head. In any event, so my point though is, well, what was she doing all that time? She had when was it? From 2017, when she joined Turning Point USA with Charlie Kirk, until March 2024, just 15 months ago, when she left the Daily Wire, so that's 6.5 years. She had to try and figure out where she stood on her position regarding Israel, regarding what America's involvement should be in the world, etc. For that matter, she had her whole life to do it. And she had 6.5 years to figure out where she stood on these things. Read, study, ask Dennis Prager, ask questions, try to figure it out. What was she doing the whole time? I just find it fascinating. People who would vote Republican, people on my side of the aisle, who somehow decided, number one, that Trump was some kind of hardcore isolationist. He isn't. That's what they thought when they were making those posts all over social media a year ago. Not one of my tax dollars spent overseas. Are you kidding me? Yeah, voting for some isolationist is not what you voted for in November 2024. It just wasn't. Yes. Trump, since the beginning of the first time he stated he was going to run for president, now 10 years ago in the summer of 2015, promised to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons. That's been his position the whole time, people. Just letting you know. In any event, until next time, hope life is treating you well. Have a great day.